Thank you very much. At this time, we will reconvene the duly noticed meeting of the LSU Board of Supervisors. Ms. Marilyn, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Starnes?
Here.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Dance?
Here.
Mr. Armenter?
Here.
Ms. Aronson?
Here.
Mr. Blossman? Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Mallett?
Here.
Mr. Morris? Mr. Morrow?
Here.
Ms. Shaw?
Here.
Mr. Temple? Ms. Werner?
Here.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Woods? Mr. Zuschlaw?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, there's a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Marilyn. Previously provided supervisors in your packet are the minutes of the board meeting held on August the 2nd. I will accept a motion to approve. So moved by Chair-elect Jones, seconded by Supervisor Morrow. Without objection, those are approved. The next item is, well, before we go to the next item, I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege and describe an event we had on August the 25th, honoring the President's first year, at the end of his first year. And at that presentation, which I'm sure the President will speak about on his own, but there was a video that was played that was produced here at LSU, and I'd like for everyone to see it. So at this time, we show everyone this fantastic video. Thank you for that. When I saw that at that August 25th event, I was just so struck, one, how well done it was, and of course the message that we presented there. So I want to thank LSU for amazing work, amazing efforts in developing that video, and thank President Tate for being able to lead and communicate his Scholarship First message. I think that was a nice video representation of that. And it is on message about what we want to do, who we want to be, and what we want to promote. So thank you for that. The next item on the agenda are policy updates from the 2022 legislative session. As y'all know, laws get passed and things get changed, so we have to from time to time update policies to comport with the new laws. In this spring, the legislature amended the existing free speech statute and enacted a statute governing due process in student discipline cases. Both acts require modification to existing university policies. The policy updates authorize the president, in conjunction with campuses, to modify existing policies in accordance with these new statutes. Those two policy updates have been previously provided and are in the packet. Are there any questions? Committee Supervisor? Thank you. Is there a motion to approve these policy changes? Is there a second?
I'll second. I'll second.
Okay. It's a motion by Supervisor Temple and seconded by Supervisor Zuschlag. That objection, those are approved. At this time, I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to amend the agenda to include a presentation and a recognition of our band director, who is here today, Kelvin. So I need a motion. Moved by Supervisor Zuschlag, seconded by Supervisor Jones. Any objection? Without objection, we have unanimous consent. And I would like to first congratulate you on being our wonderful band director, and thank you for what you do for LSU. I am convinced and firmly convinced we have the very best band in the state of Louisiana, and I thank you for that. And at this time, I'd like to recognize you for comments on how things are going with our band.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to be here. Really humbled, I must say. But nothing that I do is nothing siloed. This is a team effort. I work with great people like my colleague Damon Talley, who's our director of bands here, along with a lot of other great people within our organization. And I'm pretty sure, like you all know, LSU's a special place, and one of the best things about us is our students. And they do things like this week's halftime show. We started learning that on Tuesday. It's South Louisiana, so it like rains every day. Getting full pregame together, doing things we haven't done since before COVID. We have a very unique surprise for halftime with the visiting band with Southern University here, and they're doing that all in like under 4 days. So anything that's kind of acknowledged is really a reflection of the students and the hard work and the support that we have from not only you all, but our alums and our fans as well. Really humbled and blessed. Wasn't aware of this, but really excited for the opportunity to be here and be a Tiger and all the great things that you all support that we do. So thank you all so much. God bless and go Tigers.
Thank you. And I see Mr. Sean Andwin here, and I understand that y'all have a collaboration.
Yes. I could let Sean give more details about that, but we did a project back in April, I believe, based on a conversation we had a few months ago. And then we did the recording, and then the album kind of came out a few weeks ago, and I could let Sean talk more details about it.
First of all, thank y'all for having me here. This is pretty awesome. It's an awesome honor to be in relationship with the LSU band, as I am an alumnus of this university, and the Tiger Band alumni. So this is just like the pinnacle. And I have 3 Grammy nominations. Let me say that. But doing this with the band, it's beyond anything that I can even imagine. So at the Auburn game, I had a conversation with Doc. And we were talking, and it was like, how cool would it be if we did an album together? And he was like, really? I was like, yes. Yes. And he says, well, what will we do? I said, well, if the Tiger Band and my band did an album together, and we did my music, then it would be an awesome thing. It'll be all Louisiana. He said, let's do it. So we did it. After the Grammys, I came here, left from the Grammys, came here. We turned the band room into a recording studio. And you'll be very proud to know that the music department is creating awesome musicians ready for the industry and ready to win. Because freshmen, there were two freshmen? Mm-hmm. 2 freshmen who scored some of the songs. And they're my favorite songs on the album. I'm just gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that outside, but I'm gonna tell y'all right here. I'm gonna tell y'all right here. I'm amazed the fact that they were able to do that. And so the album came out on August 22nd. We have a double purple and gold vinyl commemorative album that we're selling. and we're giving 15% of the proceeds back to the band. And so, you know, your support in that will be, is totally appreciated. But just just so y'all know, so y'all can believe with us, we've also submitted this album for Grammy consideration. So it's up for 3 different categories. So, you know, if God says the same, we show up here in November, we're nominees. We show up again here in February, and now the Tiger Band is the Grammy-winning Golden Band from Tigerland. Thank y'all so much.
Tell everybody where you're from.
Oh, myself. Thank you. I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana. There we go.
That explains a lot if you're from Lake Charles.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Sean, and we're very proud of you and very proud of the Tigers band, and we very much looking forward to seeing how this develops going forward. So,
Awesome.
Mr. Chairman, can I say
yes,
something?
Mr. Williams.
Thank you. First of all, Sean and I were here at LSU together, and so for those of you who are not familiar with his Grammy-nominated work, he's a very talented Zydeco musician, and I'm just so happy that you have kept your LSU roots and done this project. If I'm not mistaken, there's never been an album with a marching band before. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. In the music industry, in the history of the music industry, this has never been done. There's never been a total collaboration between artist and marching band ever. I know now why. But we were able to do it, and when you listen to it, you'll be able to hear, you know, the hugeness of it. And each song had like 160 tracks. So that's one of the reasons why it's a thing. So, but yes, it's the first in history.
And I want to say, and back to the Tiger Band, what Damon, what you have allowed to flourish within that department with the marching band is exceptional. And I think we've all seen it. The band has grown over the years. Kelvin, your input. I mean, it's not surprising that you have a collaboration like this. It speaks to the ingenuity that you have brought to this band. I think we've all seen it grow since you've taken over. The swagger that the band has when they perform, it's such a big part of what happens in that stadium. And you have really kept our most sacred traditions that we all love, things that we were fond of as students here and coming to games. And yet you have added a power to this band. The kids seem to thoroughly enjoy it. The fans, I mean, everybody I talk to anecdotally can sense an extra pep in the step of the marching band. I mean, you have really brought just a dynamic flavor and personality to the marching band. And look, this is a band weekend. I think, let's be honest, everybody expects our football team to have great success tomorrow. And what a lot of people will do, given the tradition of HBCU bands, is look at the halftime show. And look, I'm a fan of the Southern University Band. When I was King of Washington Mardi Gras, I brought the Southern University Band there, but my money's on the Tiger Band. And so I know.
What he wants to do is lead them out on the field.
So I know, like the chairman has said, we've got the best band in the land, and I look forward to you showing everybody what musically and from an entertainment standpoint, what LSU can do. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
I have one thing to say.
You can ask the chairman to be recognized.
Chairman, may I speak?
Yes.
So I've never seen James Williams at a loss for words. The word he was looking for, the adjective he was looking for, was soul, James Williams. Soul. That's the addition. That's all.
Well, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Talley, I do appreciate your leadership too. Thank you very much. We've all been big fans of our music school and our marching band, and we're all very excited to be with you and see you tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Likewise. Go Tigers.
Thank y'all for having me.
So yesterday, during the committee meetings, we had a capital outlay budget that we treated as a report, but since it was in fact a budget, we do need approval for it. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the capital outlay budget request. It's moved by Supervisor Morrow, seconded by Supervisor Dam. Without objection, that budget is approved. The personnel actions have also been provided to prior to this meeting. And is there a motion to approve the personnel actions?
So moved.
Moved by Supervisor Jones, seconded by Supervisor Mallett. Without objection, those personnel matter is approved. The next item is reports to the board. Who is presenting the reports? Ms. Lewis, do you have the reports to the board? The LSU semi-annual financial report for the 6-month
I
period.
did provide those. They are in your binder. I did the quarterly diversity spend report yesterday. You have the affiliated entities report in your binder. Electronic.
All this is electronic?
They're all electronic.
Do we need a motion to accept these? I'll entertain a motion to accept these reports.
And you also have the personnel actions report.
So moved by Supervisor Werner, seconded by Supervisor Dam. Without objection, these reports are accepted by the board. Thank you.
I've got to stop working from they're all been printed in my binder, and so I keep saying things are in your binder, and they're on board.
So, next item is reports from the faculty advisors. Do we have oh, great. So,
Good morning.
Dr.
Thank you.
Combos?
Yes, sir. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present this report. We want to start thanking Mr. Stone for all his support, and we also wish to welcome Chairperson Jones and look forward to continued outreach from Board of Supervisors to faculty across the system. LSU Agricultural Center and College of Agriculture welcomes Dr. Matt Lee as an interim Vice President of Agriculture and also Dean of the College of Agriculture. The faculty of LSU A&M expresses concerns about parking restrictions associated with sports events. While advance notice is given, faculty and staff are prevented from accessing parking. This interferes with research and teaching activities. The faculty requests that faculty be given priority parking as necessary to continue their work. Also, the LSU A&M campus has some of the highest parking fees in the SEC. The faculty again request for a report on the investigation of system pay disparities. We understand that an outside commercial entity was hired to complete an investigation, and that results would be available last spring. We request if the information can be provided to faculty about the findings. There is some concern about graduate students' tuition remission. The practice of taxing student stipends supported by external funding is counterintuitive. That is those who secure funding to pay graduate student stipends are compelled to pay an additional nearly 40% to our LSU, and this practice is not well explained and uniformly applied. Faculty requests that the practice be reconsidered and revised to support competitive graduate student stipends and our research mission. LSU Health New Orleans, 15 faculty and 15 staff members will be given Chancellor's Excellence Award on a town hall meeting on September 21st. and we sincerely appreciate all your support. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to present this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cambush. How about staff advisors? Do we have a staff advisor?
Good morning. It was an honor to serve on the platform for summer commencement, and congratulations to our staff graduates. We have 11 who earned master's degrees and 9 doctoral degrees, so we've sent congratulatory letters to them. Staff Senate has sent out committee and liaison assignments to our senators and set our 2022-2023 goals, which include continued work on a resolution to abolish fees for those in the tuition exemption program, to establish a process and procedure for application and award of funding from the Foundation Staff and Faculty Professional Development Fund, to increase professional development opportunities for staff, and to continue to advocate and hold appreciation events and staff recognition. We have also been meeting with members of the administration to discuss these goals and to find additional ways that staff can support the strategic planning process and implementation. And we are also partnering with student government and Campus Federal Credit Union to hold an activity at Fall Fest next Friday as we welcome our students and faculty and staff to campus. Our staff at other campuses are also holding events to welcome back staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is President's Report. Mr. President.
Thank you. I'm going to pass it out. Actually, the video was my report. Can't beat video. In actually commemoration for your tenure as chair, I thought this handout might be helpful to understand what happened during this year. Started off the year basically with a few goals. One was to bring in resources, financial as well as human resources, and to do what we could on the facility side, using metrics that are pretty basic. Many very positive things happened. If we took the totality of the year, we made it through the COVID situation. We were really at the top of the heap in terms of students being vaccinated in our core areas that we were trying to raise money in. We successfully did that. I won't repeat it, but it was quite successful. I know there was also concern about communication. And today, the modern ABC, CBS, and NBC are actually social media formats. If you look at what happened on social media, we had over 330 million unique users who looked at LSU this past year. That's CBS-ish. Really, in terms of transformative gifts, we received 3, totaling over $55 million. We had over a 316% increase in terms of the largest donor gifts from the previous gifts from previous years. Over 167% increase in donor commitments and gifts. Obviously, a large investment from the state of Louisiana. And as I said last evening, I would like to also publicly thank the chairman and Mr. Mallett for their very, very hard work in making sure that that was a successful endeavor. In that endeavor with the state, we had over $100 million towards the Pentagon-related priorities. I would like to say this in a public venue. Many of my colleagues asked why focus on the Pentagon, and those are STEM areas, and why not other areas. I just want to say this publicly, and not to say anything negative about legislative functions in the South or anywhere else that matter, but we discovered in looking at about a 20-year period, only about $2 million over 20 years has ever been given for the humanities. And it was a stretch to create what we viewed as humanities. So largely when you go to a legislative function, you do have to have a very serious plan around STEM. and I think the team did an outstanding job. Those resources obviously will be dedicated to STEM, but it does mean that there are other resources that will be made available for the humanities because we got those resources for STEM. So it is a reallocation process, and we will be diligent in doing so. I'm very excited about how the faculty performed. Many awards were given to faculty members over the years. I take zero credit for that, but I do want to say that from this point on, I hope that we increase our resources so that they can be ultimately successful. So all in all, sir, I think that the year went pretty well. And many positive attributes. There'll be more, and what I would like to do for this body is, for those of you who are really data wonkish, one of the things we will do is to try to create dashboards to give you time horizons around the trends in core areas in which we work so that you can see what's happening throughout the year as opposed to waiting to an end-year deal. I want to thank Dr. Arbuthnot, who has taken leadership of that. When I arrived here, really, there was a data function, but not in the modern era, in the sense of dashboards, Tableau, and the way it ought to work, and she's been diligent in making it happen. And so I've just frankly never seen a transformation around data like that in this short amount of time in this kind of infrastructure. And so I just really am very thankful for that, and I think that it will help us as we lead and guide the institution by having clear metrics and data that we can examine over time. That said, I would like to thank you, sir, personally, for the year. I greatly enjoyed the experience on occasion. And, no, in all seriousness, not a better LSU Tiger has sat in the seat, one who really cares, and so I really, really appreciate you, and that concludes my report.
Mr. Chair. Yes, Mr. Dan.
I too want to thank and congratulate Mr. Starnes and President Tate, but I also wanted to draw a little bit of attention to some of the activities this week, because I think it's a great reflection on Dr. Tate, so I thought this was an appropriate time. Mr. Temple and I, I think it was Tuesday, went to the A&M agenda lunch with the governor and the mayor. Lizzie, I'm sorry I didn't mean to leave you out. And just what a great thing that was, I think, for the state of Louisiana, and the governor was really excited about it, and the mayor and other elected officials, and the sense of energy and synergy and enthusiasm, and because this week is so much more than a football game and a battle of the bands and those things we're all kind of excited about, but it's such a good thing from a scholarship standpoint, and the money that can be raised. It's just an awful lot more. This week's an awful lot more than a football game, and I just want to comment and thank you and congratulate you on that.
Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I want to tell you that the president, there's twice in the last 24 hours you've complimented me and the chair. Mr. President, you participated and you were available and you were very much a part of what we accomplished with the legislature. I appreciate you giving us that credit, and I'm not going to take away from that. Remy and I did work hard, but it could not have been done without you, and it could not have been done with chancellors who participated with us, who came to the Pentagon, visited with the legislators, and helped us pull this off. Also, all the staff that prepared the food, everything that went down was just really a team effort. In any team, there's some people that lead the pack. We might have been leading, but look, without y'all, without you, Mr. President, it would not have been successful. And the board members who did come, I'm very appreciative of that. I know everybody has busy schedules, but I want to make it quite clear, that was a team effort. And I appreciate you giving us that credit, but let's not lose sight that without the team, there's no success. And it was a team effort. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mellon. And thank you, Mr. President. And, I appreciate your remarks. I know them to be accurate about the focus of the legislature and others on STEM, and STEM is extremely important. But like you and I discussed, it was people with STEM degrees who developed nuclear bombs, but it's the people with the humanities degrees that are around to make sure we never use it. And so I think it's extremely important to promote humanities and STEM education. And that LSU is a great university, and great universities promote both of those things. And I'm not saying we're unique, but we're certainly very, very special because we have roles for agriculture and healthcare, and obviously research is a primary function, and we want to promote all of those things. It's very important that we have that full experience that we offer to our students, and we're able to have tremendous scholarship around. And thank you for your leadership in that role. Thank you for your kind words to me and for your efforts this past year. Not just in the arena of academics and scholarship, but you know we've had the opportunity to fix a lot of things, and it's a wonderful opportunity to fix a lot of things. And one of the things we've done is we've worked very, very hard in complying with promises we made about revamping our Title IX and diversity and inclusion programs. And I know that Todd Manuel is here today, who has just been hired, has just started work as a new Vice President of Civil Rights and Title IX, and that's part of a promise we made that you fulfilled, Mr. President. Thank you for that. We are doing what we said we were going to do. We are moving in the right direction, and I'm very proud of that. So thank you for that, Mr. President.
Might I add one other thing? Yes. Thank you for the clarification. I too want to join Mr. Mallett in thanking the team for everything this year, not just the legislative activities, but all the things that we were able to get done this year. It was a team effort, collectively done, especially with the chancellors as well. Something's going to happen on Monday, and I always try to give you a heads up. The U.S. News and World Report is coming out. It's embargoed, so I really can't tell you what happened on it. But I can highlight a couple things, if you don't mind, that I think we need to keep our eye on the ball for. With respect to that report, one of the things that they look at are salaries for faculty, class sizes, ACT scores, and things of that sort. What I will say is mostly we were upward trend on those, and we need to really continue to fight on the faculty salary side on a going forward basis. It's going to be much more difficult over time given the legislative revenue situation, but it's something we're really going to have to plan for, and I think we've got to fight very hard to get us over the, really way above any kind of mid-range averages in the southern region. The areas where, you'll see a lot more conversation about will be how well we're able to help students graduate in a timely fashion, and also doubling down on getting alumni to give. We did increase that a little bit, but it's not where it should be for a place like LSU. And I think it's also going to be incumbent upon us on the social mobility side when we admit students who might come from less affluent backgrounds, that we ensure that they have everything they need to be successful here in a timely fashion. Most expensive education is the one you finish, and I don't want to bring people here who, because of their means, aren't able to succeed. So we really have to work hard on the fundraising side for that. And if we do those things, you'll see some changes in the next 3 or 4 years in how our standing is viewed in U.S. News and World Report. But we will have to be diligent on those matters, and the team is working very hard to ensure that in out years, we will be very, very successful in terms of moving the needle. So thank you for that addition.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
Like,
yes, Mr. Temple.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes,
I'd like to both commend and congratulate this board in general, because candidly, Louisiana State University has, in the last 15 or so months, probably gone through its greatest transition in its history. And I'd like to commend this board for working collectively, working together, moving in a direction to accept a fantastic leader in Dr. Tate, and everybody working collectively to help him become successful. We all know the challenges that we faced when Bill Tate became president, and He accepted this role in a courageous manner, and we all worked hard to support and encourage him. We made a joint decision that we were going to support him when he was hired. And Bill, I think you've done a spectacular job. I think that the administration has changed in a phenomenal way. When you think in terms of, when you talk about LSU, everybody thinks about athletics. So the transformation that's taken place on the women's basketball court, the men's football, men's basketball, the transformation in the hiring of these new folks, all the transformations that have taken place up in Shreveport and in New Orleans and in general at this university, the things that have changed in the last year and a half are really special. And I'd just like to commend this board for working together so we can continue to move LSU forward. And Saturday is going to be a very, very special event. This brother to my left over here alluded to this game and this A&M agenda that we're looking at moving forward. And again, it's a real special time in the life of the A&M in the state of Louisiana, and we just need to make sure we embrace it and support it. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. It's a special time anytime the Tigers play. So with that, let's go to the Chancellor's reports. Dr. Kerwin, I want to thank you in Pennington. As you know, I've been a patient of Dr. Showers at Pennington. I've been under the care of the great professionals there. I could not be more impressed and enthused by the great works that y'all do at Pennington. And just from a personal standpoint, I know how valuable Pennington is to LSU, to Louisiana, and I believe if we do the things that we plan on doing and could be doing to health care just for everyone. And but you, sir, I would like to hear your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and in the spirit of thanking everybody this morning, I would like to thank you for your support in the past year as chair, and to the president. A few quick updates and just one comment. Yesterday, we were faced with a very vulnerable situation at Pennington. We shut down for the day. We had a water break, and I want to acknowledge the support that we received from the city to get back up and running. Baton Rouge Water Company, the City Parish of Public Works, the Baton Rouge Police Department, and the Baton Rouge Mayor's Office all rallied to get us back up and running by late afternoon. So it's a great reflection of the spirit of the city and the support that we can garner from them. A couple of updates. I want to acknowledge the LeCATS program, Louisiana Clinical Translational Science Program. The check has come in, folks, and so that's a $20 million grant that has come to the state of Louisiana. I want to say special thanks to Steve Nelson, here to my right, who is a co-director of that program, together with Lee Ham from Tulane. We have partnerships from all of the academic medical centers, including our colleagues in Shreveport and here at A&M. And we look forward over the next 5 years to moving the health outcomes and health inequities challenges of the state forward with this funding. A final item that I wanted to bring to your attention, we talk a lot about health and we talk a lot about disease, and most of our funding revolves around that. But we also focus on human performance, and we have some major initiatives there. You probably be familiar with our work with DOD and the Army grants that we get. But most recently, we secured a grant from what's known as the Wu-Tsai Foundation. The Wu-Tsai Foundation is a family foundation out of California. They've invested $220 million in understanding human performance, not from a disease perspective, but from a health perspective. And together with A&M, Department of Kinesiology, LSU Athletics, Trinity University out of Texas and Harvard, we're examining behavioral aspects of human performance. And we look forward to reporting out on that in the near future. But I wanted to highlight that because we spend a lot of time talking about obesity, chronic diseases, diabetes. Just wanted you to know that the perspective is a little broader than that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kerwin. Dr. Fox, LSU Health Science Center in Shreveport is a vital part of what we do at LSU, a vital part of Louisiana. And I know we've spent some time up in Shreveport at the medical school, and I would like to hear your report about things going on there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sitting in for Dr. Lewis, is on a well-deserved vacation. So I'm going to start with the clinical side. I think he informed the board at the last meeting that with the SNAP nurses moving out of the area at the end of July, we potentially were in a health crisis for Shreveport-Bossier. We began working months in advance with the other healthcare centers in the area to coordinate things and come up with different plans. Met obviously with LDH and the mayor's office. And really it was a wonderful thing to be a part of, to see collegiality, people working between the institutions, moving patients around, putting them first, trying to keep the level 1 trauma center going, the level 2 pediatric trauma center going at the academic medical center. It really worked out well. I mean, people lost 20 to 30% of their inpatient beds. It was about 200, 250 beds that we were down in Shreveport-Bossier. We're back up at our institution to about 92% of where we were before the SNAP nurse pullout. But again, a lot of people involved to make this happen, meeting daily, having daily conversations with all the other different healthcare institutions, I think really allowed us to get through this. And I think everybody feels much better. The nurse recruiting has increased. We're back up to about, like I said, 93% of our beds before the pullout. So that's all very positive. Medical education building is still scheduled to be open in August of 2023. That's going to be a big deal for our campus. I think it's a great building, a well-deserved workout area for the residents and the med students that we don't have now. Increase in classroom size and allow us to do some different things educationally that we have the opportunity to do now because of space. So that's going to be a big deal. We did get our LCME preliminary report back, no major findings. The findings kind of centered around what we thought, which was curriculum redesign, which, to remind the board, we started that before COVID and then had some interruptions with abilities to fully execute that plan because of COVID. We feel like we're on track with that. So we'll be hopefully getting the final report from LCME in a couple of months. Fundraiser side, we've had our most successful endeavor ever. Tremendous community support for our Night of Healers, which is September 22nd. Kim Mulkey is actually going to be the keynote speaker. We look forward to the event and, hopefully as many board members as possible attending. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Fox. And we are indeed very excited about the new medical education building. We took a tour some months ago. It was in earlier stages, and we're very excited to see it completed and used. That's a transformative opportunity there in Northwest Louisiana, and I can't wait to attend the opening of it. So, Dr. Nelson, thank you for being here, and you and I have had many collaborations about the medical school in New Orleans, and I'm very thankful for your leadership there. I know we're moving into a new building in New Orleans too, moving towards it, and we've talked about maybe using some of the buildings that we do have in other ways. I wear a couple of hats in my life. One is I'm a supervisor. I'm humbled to be a supervisor. Other, I'm a state public defender, and I see ways that the criminal justice system and higher education and public health should overlap and intersect, and I love the conversations we've had about exploring ways to make that intersection So with that, I thank you for your leadership, and we'd like to hear your report.
Thank you, Chairman Starnes, and thank President Tate and his leadership team and the Board of Supervisors for all the support they've provided to the Health Science Center in New Orleans. I dare say we've had more visitations from President Tate and the leadership in the past 8 months than I think we've had in the past 10 years. So I'm very grateful for your support. As I mentioned last time, in terms of NCI, I asked LCMC to engage with Isaacson Miller to help us with 3 key critical searches for NCI, the Associate Director for Community Outreach and Engagement, Clinical Trials, and Population Health. All those committees have been formalized, and the searches are underway. In parallel to those searches, we're doing our own individual searches, traditional methods. We now have scheduled 5 different basic research teams that are coming, 3 in population science, 2 surgical oncologists, and 2 medical oncologists that will be visiting with us within the next 8 weeks. As President Tate knows, I've started speaking with both LCMC and Tulane to see how we might work together in certain areas from cancer to cardiorespiratory disease, and see if we can work together to improve health outcomes in Louisiana. I think many of you have heard Dr. Augusto Ochoa, who's the Deputy Director and Chair of the Department of Oncology, received the Henry Hines Award for Outstanding Contributions to Clinical Trials and Community Outreach and Service. That's the highest award awarded by the NCI, and it's really a very distinguished honor. We're very proud of that. Earlier this week, I've had conversations with President Verrett and the Provost McCall about, as I mentioned last time, we started an early admissions program for the medical school with Xavier, which is underway. In conversations with Secretary Courtney Phillips, we've secured $1.4 million to provide stipends for those Xavier students, and not only the students that will be accepted into the school, but also for the undergraduate students at Xavier who will receive support, everything from MCAT boot camp to everything else, so that they can prepare themselves well for success in medical school once they're accepted to LSU. We also spoke about maybe doing the same thing with an early admissions program for the dental school as well, because not only are minorities underrepresented in the medical profession, but that's also very much true in the dental profession as well. And then finally, I think many of you have heard that President Verrett announced that he's interested in developing a medical school. He's actually has now engaged a consultant to help him work through those considerations. I made it clear to him and to the provost that we were very much interested in helping him succeed in that goal. There is a program at Drew, that's with UCLA, where what happens is that the students that are applying, there's usually about 20 to 25 students are enrolled in the UCLA school from Drew. They have a separate track program that emphasizes everything from community outreach to academic research. And then at the end of that 4 years, they in fact get a degree from UCLA. As many of you may know, Drew now is, because they've been going through this process, building up their capabilities and support, they're about now to apply for their own medical school. So whether or not this relationship stayed as it would be in terms of working together, or at the end of the day, we help them succeed in their goal, I think either one would be a great success for Louisiana. In terms of renovations, which you mentioned, the CALS building is going to house our clinical faculty. Many of you toured that facility, and that'll be open in November and December. The medical education building and the dental school. I want to thank Kimberly Lewis for all her help and President Tate for support for securing funds to renovate these facilities that are 30 to 40 years old. And finally, we're about to begin, hopefully, our dental hygiene program with my peers over here at Alexandria. And in terms of the nursing shortage, we're starting 3 accelerated nursing programs with our partners in Shreveport. That concludes my report, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. It's very exciting. I love hearing about your collaboration. Supervisor Morris, you had a comment?
I just want to take the opportunity to thank both medical schools, Shreveport and New Orleans, for working together. Because in the past, we've had that divisive attitude, but with the leadership at both places now, along with Dr. Tate, I hear them working together every week about stuff. which is what we need to do. So I just wanted to commend y'all for working together for a common goal.
Thank you.
Chancellor Carell, as you know, having my roots in central Louisiana, LSUA has been very near and dear to me, and I thank you for your stewardship. You're doing a great job, and the university, the campus at LSUA, and the whole community around central Louisiana has been really excited about the things that you're doing over there. And I personally want to thank you for your leadership there, and I would like to hear your report.
Thank you. Appreciate your support, and thanks for coming by and visiting a few times on Friday afternoon about 4:30. I like those kind of visits. It proves that we keep working on Friday. I'm very excited.
That's why I do that.
I'm very excited to report something that I can't tell you how excited we are. This is Census Day today. And from fall to fall, LSUA enrollment has grown 9%. If you're reading the headlines around the country, most universities have lost enrollment the last 3 years. This will be the 8th semester in a row that we have broken a record for enrollment. So we're really in a unique, I think there's only 3 or 4 universities in Louisiana that have grown enrollment during COVID. We're going to also exceed and reach 4,100 students. This is historic. We've never had that many students. So I can tell you, the faculty and the staff, the hard work they put in, and we have a faculty member here, Christoph is here, they have really worked to make the quality of education at LSUA something that is really appreciated in the community, and the students are coming to us because of that. So I wanted to tell you that we're going to be celebrating that on campus to thank these faculty and staff for the work they've done. The goal by 2025 is to have 5,000. That's been something since I went back to LSUA 3 years ago. That's been kind of the goal. And we're going to make it. We're going to be there in 2025. We've had a really good year of philanthropy and donations. The Alexandria Business Foundation just gave us $600,000. And this is a small community. Alexandria is not a very big and rich community, but the business community has embraced our College of Business, and they want to see more. And we're really reaching out to them and helping our business community. It's not just about the students, which is very crucial, but it's also about economic development and lifelong learning, which our college is doing with the businesses, and that's what they want us to do. The ribbon cutting, y'all were all there a year ago, June, for the governor and y'all were there with the groundbreaking. We had to delay it because of all the rain. It rains every day in central Louisiana. I mean, it pours. But we're going to have the ribbon cutting October 12th for the drainage infrastructure, which really has changed the whole look of the campus, particularly the drainage. We don't have any fish swimming on the sidewalks anymore. And the students are not having to bring 2 pairs of shoes, an old pair and a good pair, like they've been doing. The drainage is tremendously improved. And the National Guard cleaned out the canal that goes from the campus to the main bayou. And they did it as a training exercise and saved us a significant amount of money. And I want to thank the National Guard for that. We were successful. We've been trying to get a better partnership with Fort Polk, the Joint Readiness Training Center there. We just got a grant from the Department of Defense. We're going to have an operation on the base. LSUA is going to have their sign on the base. We'll have a facility there. We're going to be doing STEM education in the community in the elementary schools. And we're really happy. That opens up a door for us to have much more partnerships with the Department of Defense. You're going to be reading about the capital outlay. I know y'all approved the request. And I want to thank Kimberly. She really helped us in supporting that. We have about 500 nursing job openings today in Alexandria, 500. The hospitals, we called the hospitals last week, and they said each hospital said they could hire a couple of hundred nurses right now. So we're in a crisis situation, and they want us to produce double the amount of nursing graduates. And it goes for Eunice and New Orleans and everywhere else. So LSU needs to lead the way. So we're going to be trying to enhance our facilities downtown where we're closer to the hospitals and build a healthcare education complex where our allied health program is right now on Jackson Street, right there in downtown Alexandria. So we're going to be asking for y'all to help us support that. We need to do it. It has to be done. And there's rationing of healthcare right now going on because of this. And they're looking to us for addressing this issue. I'm going to stop there. I want to thank Chairman Storms for his support and the rest of the supervisors. Y'all always encourage me as chancellor and all of us as chancellors, and it motivates us to do better, and we thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Correll. I appreciate your kind words about me and my fellow supervisors. I was struck, and I think several of us were, when you said there were 500 open nursing jobs in Rapides Parish. That is striking to me. It highlights things that we've discussed as supervisors. Number one, we do have 2 medical schools, and we do have hospital system, and we do have an absolutely integral role in healthcare in Louisiana, and absolutely LSU should lead the way in training doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals in Louisiana. And I'm a firm believer that we need to expand those programs. We need to resource them. We need better facilities. We need more people. And we should absolutely train more. There's 500 jobs for nurses in Louisiana. There should be 500 new LSU graduates who fill them, in my view. So, yeah, the president just informed me that the 500 might be the Rapides number, but it's several thousand statewide. And we should absolutely focus on training more nurses at LSU. And I appreciate your comments, Chancellor, and you can be sure that we're going to be moving in that direction. Chancellor Sorensen, thank you for being here. Thank you for your leadership at Eunice. Eunice is a very important part of what we do. It has a strong cultural connection to its community and it's LSU's center stage in that portion of Louisiana, rural Louisiana. It's a very special place, and thank you for taking the leadership there. And we'd like to hear your report.
Good morning, Chairman Starnes, President Tate, and all of the Board of Supervisors, as well as all of our colleagues and friends here in the audiences. I, too, will lead off with some news about allied health. On August 19th, Senator Bill Cassidy was on our campus. Supervisor Brown was there as we recognized and celebrated the $1 million that was in the omnibus bill to improve allied health and the sciences at LSUE. I'm happy to say that we're going to be able to completely refurbish, in addition to equipment for allied health, 2 of our anatomy and physiology labs. They will be state-of-the-art in terms of their simulation and interactivity ability. As you know, we are the starting place. That is the starting place for all of our allied health majors, as well as those students in the area that are pre-dental, pre-med, pre-veterinary, pre-pharmaceutical, all of those types of things. The following week, we were at Ochsner Lafayette General to accept a check from Blue Cross Blue Shield for $325,000. Again, I know this doesn't compare to some of the larger numbers, but it means so much to our programs, and that was to support the evening and weekend cohort of nursing and surgical technology at Ochsner Lafayette General Hospital. So by doing that, the plan is to double those numbers, but we also need to explore, as our colleagues have said, doubling the numbers at the Eunice campus as well. Plans are, in the last legislative session, we received all of the funding to do the repairs to Manual Hall. Thank goodness, we're very appreciative. The bid process is out on that, and that will begin shortly. As you may recall, we are an Achieving the Dream School, and the name of that initiative is Building Resiliency in Rural Communities for the Future of Work. We had our Achieving the Dream coaches on campus with us earlier this week, and I'm happy to say that in terms of other colleges, two-year colleges that they work with, that we are far ahead of some of our peers. We are a site of the Governor's Initiative in Digital Inclusion and Equity. We have a curriculum called North Star, and that teaches both students and the public the basic skills, basic digital literacy skills. So that is now available out of our library, the Ladue Library, that is really being transformed into this student engagement center for learning. I want to express my appreciation for anyone in the room that may have participated in a capital campaign study. We have two major capital campaigns on the books. One is to improve our athletic facilities. We received $1 million from the legislature last year in cash to start the engineering study. That will begin. But perhaps the most important is the STEAM Innovation Center, and that's the transformation of the original science building into a STEAM Innovation Center where the A is agriculture. That is central to the survivability and thrivability not only of the campus but all of the Acadiana region. So September 14th will mark the 14th anniversary, the 55th anniversary of LSUE as a campus. So on September 14th, we will be 55 years old. And our fundraising capability, we have Carrie Lawson here in the audience, who is our director of our LSUE Foundation, director of advancement. We are seeing 34% increases in our fundraising capability year after year since 2016. I want to thank her and the entire team, and that includes faculty and staff that make all of those things happen. And finally, we have the highest number of dually enrolled students in our history. There are over 600 dually enrolled students that are taking classes through LSUE, and while I sincerely applaud the efforts of our state to increase the on-ramps into higher education, we do have some fiscal challenges with providing dually enrolled services. We're receiving about $50 a credit hour per student, and that includes no fees. So we're really delivering courses and/or degrees at about 15% of the value. So we have some challenges there. I know that we're going to be in a conversation about how to fund dual enrollment through the state. But our soccer teams are up and going, and we have 2 new coaches, and they have looked at us many times and said, does it always rain this much at this time of the year, to try to get their teams out on the field to practice. But that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you for your leadership and unity. We much appreciate it. Last night, we had a dinner amongst us, and I was very honored. The kind words my fellow supervisors said about me are very appreciated. I thank you, each and every one of you, and you, Mr. President. I shared a little bit of my personal perspective about how important the agricultural extension is to me. And that's been something, I didn't know it was called agricultural extension then, but all of my life, I knew how important it was to me and my family. As I matured, grew older, and obviously I learned the value of how important research is and what it means to LSU in Louisiana. And one of the proudest things that we've done since I've been the chairman was creating the Research and Ag Extension Committee. And I just want, you know, I want the world to know that as chairman, not only did we create the Ag Extension Committee, but I called it first at every meeting, chaired as the chairman of the Board of Supervisors, because I wanted to emphasize how important it is. So, Chancellor Lee, I want to thank you for your leadership too, and we'd like to hear your report.
Thank you, Chairman Starnes, and thank you for your unwavering support for the LSU agricultural enterprise, specifically for our cooperative extension service as well. The LSU Ag Center sponsored programs office processed in an additional roughly $3 million in research awards brought in by our faculty last month alone. So the faculty are remaining very aggressive in their posture towards securing external research funding. As you heard yesterday when we had our geneticist and rice expert, LSU has an international reputation for our crop breeding program. And in fact, we're so internationally eminent that many of our graduate programs have almost exclusively international students enrolled because we are so attractive to students from around the globe. So to maintain that international flow of students and scholars that come to LSU, we recently hosted a group from Honduras, and we renewed several existing agreements, specifically with University of Zamorano, Central American Technological University, and the National University of Agriculture. And these are relationships shoring up our cooperative work on food security, food production innovation, and our emphasis on rural public health. You may remember last spring our student poultry judging team won the national championship, and I'm pleased to announce that in keeping with our commitment to educational excellence, our agricultural economics team just recently won the national championship in the academic quiz bowl in their field. So we're very proud of their accomplishments as well. The LSU Sweet Potato Research Station is the only station in the country that is devoted exclusively to sweet potato research. We are an international leader in sweet potato varietal development, and in fact we've patented over 30 sweet potato varieties. We had a very successful field day this last month, and we had over 100 scientists and growers from around the country come and get to hear the latest developments that we have going on our sweet potato research station, which is one of 15 of our agricultural research stations. And then in keeping with the signing of the A&M agenda this week, I just want to emphasize for a moment the importance and the nature of our relationship with the Cooperative Extension Service with Southern University and the Southern Ag Center. Many people don't realize, but we don't have the LSU Cooperative Extension Service. It's actually the Louisiana Cooperative Extension Service because it is a joint endeavor between the LSU Agricultural Center and the Southern Agricultural Center. So we work very seamlessly together at many of our cooperative extension service stations throughout the state. Southern and LSU are already co-located and they work together. Yesterday I attended a lunch with our statewide group of food and nutrition educators and professionals, and it was a group of both LSU and Southern professionals that are contributing to healthier communities from around the state. So I'm very pleased about the signing of the A&M agenda. President Tate, I appreciate your leadership on that, and I'm hopeful and believe that the agricultural enterprise can serve as a model for how the rest of the university can leverage their relationship with our colleagues at Southern University to improve the lot of everyone in the state. And then finally, I just want to point out, as you know, that today is my 40th day on the job with the Ag Center, and I would like to publicly thank one of my colleagues here at the table, Chancellor Carell. As you know, Chancellor Carell has a long-standing affinity and affiliation with the Ag Center, and he has been extraordinarily helpful for me on a steep onboarding process, and he's been a good friend over the years, and he has been an excellent mentor recently, and thank you, sir, for your friendship and for your support as I've gotten onboarded, and the employees and the supporters of the Ag Center have been extraordinarily kind and generous as I've gotten in position. That concludes my report, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Well, what was the poultry contest we won?
Right, so it's we have a student team that does poultry judging. So there's a national competition, and quite frequently LSU wins, and we won again this year.
Do we fry the winners or the?
Hopefully they go to good use.
Thank you, Chancellor Lee, and thank you for stepping up like you time and again, and I really appreciate your service to the university and your leadership. And in every capacity we've asked you up, you've risen to the occasion, and it's much appreciated by me.
Thank you, sir. It's always a privilege.
Yes, sir. Chancellor Clark, good to see you again. And as you know, Shreveport has a very special place in my heart. I love seeing the leadership you provide at LSUS. And we keep our focus there. We know we have a lot more development we want to do there. And I thank you for the leadership you've taken at LSUS and for helping when we need you to at the Health Science Center in the capacity you serve now. So thank you very much for that, and we'd like to hear your report.
Thank you for your words, and again, thank you for what you do to support all of us, and we appreciate it very much. One of the things that Supervisor Morris just talked about a short time ago was about collaboration between the health science centers. And the one thing that's happening in Shreveport in particular is our collaboration with LSU Health Shreveport, and we're very, very pleased that the past week we had announced that the guaranteed interview program going into place, and that has made an immediate reaction. We track social media very closely with analytics. President Tate was talking about tracking. We track everything. And we immediately had a spike, and we immediately started having interest of students being interested in just what does that mean. And so we were very, very pleased with that and very thankful for that occurring. And there's also, I'm glad to say, a lot of continued collaboration between the faculty of both institutions. President Tate, as we've talked about before, came to Shreveport back in June and talked about some of the opportunities with co-location, and we're pursuing those and some very good things that we look forward for that to happen. But in the present, and looking at what we're doing with some of the joint programs, there's just a lot of activity that is going on that's really very helpful for our future, for what we're going to be doing, attracting students, attracting faculty. So we're excited about that, and David Lewis has just been terrific in his team to work with that. In the legislature this past session, there was $2.5 million that was earmarked for cybersecurity for both LSU Shreveport and separately for the flagship. And I've approved plans just about 10 days ago for Shreveport to have a securities operations center built on our campus. And that'll be tracking what the work of the bad actors are, as they talk about at Barksdale. But the bad actors are potentially people that are in Russia, people in China, people all over the place, even in the United States, trying to get entry and do things. And so the model center that we're going to be set up is similar to what I believe that Greg Trahan is leading on this campus, on the A&M campus, with their $2.5 million. We're collaborating with Greg again, an example of working together, and we're very pleased with the direction that is going, and we think that we'll become operational by the time at the end of the fiscal year, which we must because of how the money's been earmarked to us. But we're moving very strongly forward, and very pleased with the support we've had from the flagship in terms of ideas of what we might be doing. The Supervisor Temple mentioned about the fact of transformation, and by the way, as a personal point, I had to say, seeing his uniform number 41 last night up there on the wall as we were eating dinner, my chair happened to be looking directly at it, which was pretty amazing to see there in the room, and pretty amazing. But back to transformation, I was asked by President Tate to be leading the search committee for the next chancellor at LSU Health Science Center. I am pleased to say that search is moving very, very well. We've been very blessed with the firm. We have Isaacson Miller, whom President Tate chose to be working with us. Winston DeCur, Carranza Pryor have helped us a lot from the legal side. Cindy Rivas is sitting behind me. She's absolutely fantastic, terrific in her role as the vice chair. She's the vice chancellor for business for LSU Health Shreveport. But we're moving very quickly along. We expect to have we have the dates already set for when we'd have in-person interviews on the campus of LSU Shreveport in November. And so we hope to have the ability to put before President Tate before Thanksgiving, who we are going to be recommending for him to consider to hire as the next chancellor. So that is moving along very well. We'll be working with the subcommittees as we did with the president's search process and doing very similar for what Supervisor Williams did when we had that search underway. So that's about to be occurring, and that's a good thing. You know, I just want to mention about collaboration. I think it's important, and I think any of us who are sitting across this table could say the same thing because it's true. But we deal with a lot of people, but a lot of them come from Kimberly Lewis's area. And with her having come on board, I'm really pleased, I think I can say this for all of us, how strongly she's encouraged her team to continue to working with all of us. And some of the projects for us are pretty small. You know, that was, they're just not big compared to the flagship, but they're still important to us. And people like Danny Mahaffey, who is working with me for the bridge that goes across to our apartments, which is so important to get the legislature approved. We got some additional funding and some of the challenges we've had with that of vivarium and how to do it. And then Patrick Martin, who is not in Kimberly's area, but helping yesterday. There's just so many ways in which we do operate as a system for how we can get supported. And that's important. It's things that are not seen by the public, it's not seen by you as supervisors. But I think it's important for you to know that the level of collaboration that goes on, and that whether it's going to be from Provost Haggerty with his team, with Kimberly's team, wherever it is, the level of support is real. And we all appreciate that kind of support that comes our way. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor, very much. And again, I appreciate your leadership and the fantastic way that you have moved LSUS forward. It's inspirational. We know we have more work to do there, but thank you for taking that leadership role, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The next item is the approval of committee recommendations. I'll accept one motion to approve all committee recommendations.
So moved.
Moved by Supervisor Armator, second by Supervisor Mallett. Without objection, the committee recommendations are approved. Next item is the chair's report. I would like to begin by thanking Governor John Bell Edwards for appointing me to the LSU Board of Supervisors. It has been the honor of my lifetime to serve as a supervisor. From the earliest of my memories, LSU has been an important part of everyone's lives in my family and in my communities. Everywhere you looked, there was something LSU was doing. There was a confidence among people that wherever the problems were, there were people at LSU who could figure them out and help solve them. There was, and when I say every problem, I can remember hearing people talk about problems with crops growing. Well, LSU can figure that out. Or with health care, well, LSU can help figure that out. With the economic issues in local communities, well, somebody asked the expert from LSU what we should do. And that was always been ingrained in me about, and taught me that what I later learned to know to be true, that LSU and Louisiana share the same fate. We are the same fabric. And what I know and have come to know is that all the problems that we see in Louisiana, all the challenges that we faced, whether it could be hurricane damage and damage to our coast, our tremendous agricultural industry and how we can grow better and more efficiently and healthier. Whether it's healthcare outcomes, whether it's or services and providing healthcare, whether it's economic impact on a community, on a state, whatever the issues are, it's going to be LSU leading the way to solving. That's what flagship means. That's who we are. I'm very proud of the people who work here. I'm very proud of the people I've come to know here. I'm inspired all of the time by the scholarship and the discoveries and the innovations that I regularly see from faculty, staff, and students. And it redoubles my efforts to make things as good as they can be. I think that the more people that have an opportunity to be LSU Tigers, not only is it better off for them and their families and their futures, but it's better for the state of Louisiana. And I'm very proud of the efforts that we have undertaken to encourage that to become a reality. When Governor Edwards was elected, he promised the people that he would do something different in higher education, and he appointed all of us to fulfill that promise. I'm very humbled that I'm one of the people he chose. I live every day trying to live up to that trust. And I believe he has delivered on his promise to promote higher education, to make it better than it ever has in Louisiana. And I want to thank each and every one of you for working with me, for us working together to make LSU as good as we can make it, to make the improvements I know that we've made, and recognizing where we need to make still further improvements, and working together towards that as well. When people talk about things like our football team, and I love our football team, but when you see things like the 2019 National Championship team and the Heisman Trophy that our quarterback won, that's important to us, but not just because we blocked or tackled better than everybody else. Because we demonstrated to ourselves and to our community and to the world that we can be the best in the world at something. And what I want that to be is an inspiration that we can be the best in the world at that and other things too. And that's why I get so excited when I hear about the research we do on our coast and how important that is. When I learn about innovations in healthcare that I've personally experienced at Pennington, and how we can affect people's lives and be the best in the world at that. Whenever you win all your games and never trail in the fourth quarter like we did and won that national championship, it is something that you don't believe could ever happen, but it did. And it did in purple and gold, and it did here in Louisiana. That's the same kind of spirit, that's the same kind of wonder, and the same type of trying to grasp that we should do for big projects like NCI designation. There's nothing that we could do that's more transformative to Louisiana, to all of our citizens, than to achieve NCI designation. It opens the floodgates for federal funds. It changes health outcomes for people. It transforms the economies of communities. We have 2 medical schools, one in Northwest Louisiana, one in New Orleans in Southeast Louisiana. We're a small state, 2 medical schools. NCI designation would transform the future of Louisiana in very, very positive ways. We cannot ever be deterred from our goal to achieve that designation. And it's going to be LSU as the flagship that's going to lead the way. I'm very proud of it. I spend a lot of my time going around Louisiana as the state public defender and as the chairman of the Board of Supervisors. I'm very excited to be able to do those things. It's an honor to me. A lot of the reason I'm able to is because of the support of my wife, Pam, who's here. And I want to thank you, Pam, for supporting me and encouraging me. It's meant the world to me. Thank you. I want to thank the faculty and the staff. I've really enjoyed getting to know you as a supervisor, and even more thoroughly so as the chairman. It's been incredible to see the great things that you do. Just last night, that wonderful event that Monique and Nicole planned out and executed, it was fantastic. Thank you. But other things as well, particularly from the faculty perspective, that has just been very educational to me, and I look forward to working with you in the future and learning even more about the great research you're doing and the great things you're accomplishing, and all the students' lives that you're affecting. It's very important. It is integral to our mission, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the work that you do. Serving as the chairman, I said Governor Edwards made me a supervisor, but all the rest of my colleagues here made me the chairman. And I'll never forget that. I'll never stop thanking you for it.
Would you start crying?
It's the highest service to school I love. Thank you. Go Tigers. We have a little more business to conduct, if you'd find your seat.
I think we hit the over. What a surprise.
As I mentioned before, serving as the chair of the LSU Board of Supervisors is the highest service to our school, and I am proud at this time to facilitate the transition of my chairmanship to Chair-elect Jones. So at this time, would the family of Ms. Jones take their places in the well. And at this time, Supervisor Williams would administer the oath to Chair-elect Jones.
There he is.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Valencia Sarkey Jones. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States. The Constitution and laws of the state of Louisiana. The bylaws of the LSU Board of Supervisors. And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as the chairman of the LSU Board of Supervisors according to the best of my ability and understanding. So help me God. Congratulations.
What a set.
Just leave me in the room. Don't put me out.
I'll need a tutorial from my friend Supervisor Williams, who's excellent at tapping this gavel. As my first duty as chairman, I have the honor of presiding over the election for the position of chair-elect of the LSU Board of Supervisors. At this time, I'd like to recognize Mr. Williams, chair of the nominating committee, to give the nominating committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The nominating committee met on July 18th at 1:00 p.m. After due deliberation, the committee voted to nominate Mr. Jimmy Woods Sr. as chair-elect. Madam Chairman, that is the report of the nominating committee.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, and the members of the nominating committee. At this time, I'll open the floor for any additional nominations. Please note that a nomination from the floor requires a concurrence of 5 supervisors. Are there any nominations from the floor?
Madam Chair, I move we close nominations.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Supervisor Morrow. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Chair, at this time, I'll call for a vote in favor of electing Jimmy Woods, Sr., for the position of Chair-elect of the LSU Board of Supervisors? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The yeas have it. Congratulations, Mr. Woods. At this time, I'd like to invite former Appellate Court Judge Regina Bartholomew Woods, who will administer the oath of office to her husband, Jimmy Woods, for the position of Chair-elect. Mr. Woods, please step down and take the Chair-elect oath. Chair-elect Woods, I'd like to offer my heartfelt congratulations on behalf of the LSU Board of Supervisors. For those of you who don't know Chair-elect Woods, he doesn't say much, but when he does, it's powerful, and we all sit up and we take note. So I'm looking forward to working alongside you this year to continue to further the mission and vision of LSU's. Congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge our former chair, Remy Voisin Starnes, who's led us successfully and with distinction through this past year. We're grateful for your leadership, and we have a resolution that we'd like to read into the minutes in your honor. Whereas Chairman Remy Voisin Starnes was appointed by Governor John Bell Edwards to the LSU Board of Supervisors on June 5th of 2018 from the 1st Congressional District, and whereas Chairman Starnes was chosen among his peers as chair-elect and assumed the role of chairman on September the 10th of 2021, and whereas Chairman Starnes' leadership, focus, encompassed the entirety of LSU's 8 campuses, agricultural extension, extensive research across 64 parishes, and whereas Chairman Starnes conferred degrees on the largest and most diverse graduating class, and whereas Chairman Starnes shaped the future of LSU by initiating long-term effects such as NCI designation, carbon capture, and hydrogen fuel initiatives, procurement of a brand new supercomputer, creation of the cybersecurity program, and the complete revamping of the Title IX diversity and inclusion programs. And whereas Chairman Starnes successfully led historic diplomatic efforts for LSU, meeting with congressional delegation partners in Washington, D.C., and across the state of Louisiana. And whereas Chairman Starnes established and hosted the first ever Louisiana Higher Education Leadership Dinner attended by Governor John Bell Edwards, the supervisors and system presidents of all higher education systems in Louisiana and the regions. And whereas Chairman Starnes supported and advocated for increased access to educational opportunities for all students by the permanent installation of test optional admissions at LSU. And whereas Chairman Starnes spotlighted medical education and research, including a bariatric surgical procedure that he personally experienced. And whereas Chairman Starnes cultivated an environment which resulted in record legislative appropriations and donations which exceeded $500 million. And whereas Chairman Starnes championed efforts to increase opportunities for prospective students, particularly those from historically underrepresented or resource-challenged backgrounds. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Supervisors of Louisiana State University Agricultural and Mechanical College wishes to express its deepest gratitude and appreciation to Chairman Ramey Voisin Starnes for his tireless devotion, exemplary leadership, and unequaled service in support of the entire university system, and for filling his role as chairman while exhibiting the highest standards of honor, courage, and professionalism. Next, I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Katrina Dunn, immediate past president of the AP Turo Senior LSU Black Alumni Chapter. Ms. Dunn, welcome, and please approach the podium.
Thank you. Good morning. It is with great pleasure that AP Turo Senior Black Alumni Chapter congratulate the first Black LSU woman alum to become chair of the LSU Board of Supervisors. This is a momentous achievement that underscores the importance of representation and why being first matters. First matter because they are the building blocks of progress. They show us what once was impossible is now possible. For Black people in America, firsts have always been important. We have had to fight for every inch of progress we have made, and we have had to do it in the face of overwhelming opposition. Every Black person who has achieved a first is a reminder that we can achieve anything we set our minds to, no matter how stacked the odds may seem in the moment. And although this board is no stranger to firsts, it is imperative that we continue to acknowledge them. As a cornerstone of the Louisiana community, LSU provides opportunities for students to succeed in their chosen field. This success would not be possible without the hard work and dedication of our alumni. The example set by Chairman Jones will inspire young Black women to pursue and achieve leadership positions. We are proud of you. We are proud to count you among our alumni. We offer our support and look forward to your continued success. Go Tigers.
Thank you so much, Katrina, for those thoughtful comments. I really appreciate you and the leadership of the AP Turo Black Alumni Chapter and all that you do to continue to work in support of this institution. So thank you again. Before we adjourn, I'd like to give thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. For with him, it would not be possible for me, a super senior, at the time of my graduation from LSU, to be here today as chairman. I'd like to thank Governor John Bell Edwards for entrusting me and my colleagues with the state's flagship institution and all that it means to the people of Louisiana. I'm humbled for the vote of confidence from my colleagues, as it's truly a great honor to serve alongside each of you as a facilitator for the process of collective exploration, strategic leadership, and policy-making endeavors. Thank you again to immediate past Chairman Ramey Voisin Starnes for his unwavering passion and commitment not only to LSU, but to the state of Louisiana and to this board. Last but certainly not least, I'm grateful for my amazing family, especially my husband and son, who are always supportive, even when it's not convenient. As chairman, I'm looking forward to continuing our work with our visionary president, President Tate, and all of our campus leaders. It's my hope that during this year, we all work together to continue to do the good work to elevate our great university. We're all excited about this long overdue partnership that has recently been forged between LSU and Southern University to leverage our academic enterprises to yield tangible results for our students, faculty, staff, and our communities. Our next board meeting will be held on October 21st. That morning, prior to the board meeting, we will support the President's Cup Golf Fundraiser. The 4-person scramble directly benefits our LSU men and women's golf program, so visit the TAF website to get your teams together, and let's join President Tate on the green to support our students. Go Tigers! At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there, is there any objection to adjourning the meeting? All in favor, please say aye. All right, the motion carries. That adjourns our meeting for today. Thank you all.